Hello and welcome to another episode of Obscura Undead Reviews. I'm Azzy.
I'm Mouse.
And this week we are going to be reviewing Mirror of Haze's debut album, The End is the Beginning.
Yep, the album came out on February 15th on Wave Records, and the band is from Oslo, Norway. And it looks like it could just be one guy. Music and lyrics and produced by Vadim Markov.
I mean, the mastering was done by Gustavo Plaza, and the cover was designed by Svetlana Markova, and the logo was done by Dmitry Stankovic.
Yes,
so
there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people that came together to make this album, but as far as the music goes, all we know about it is this one guy.
Yes, and this album was an interesting find. So we follow Wave Records pretty closely. They have some really cool new stuff coming out lately, but this album, what interested us a lot was the description on the album. So, well, it's another pandemic band, so bear that in mind. But they describe their music as in the ethereal soundscape of reverb-drenched guitars, driving bass, rhythmic drum machine beats, and commanding vocals. You can hear musical textures reminiscent of the Chameleons and the Fields of the Nephilim, as well as their modern counterparts, Drab Majesty, and Then Comes Silence.
Yeah, and you can actually hear a lot of that in this album. There's a lot of influences of modern post-punk and dark wave, modern goth wave, if you will, as well.
Right.
While we saw a lot of those elements, I didn't particularly pick up anything that was unique to this band.
No, what's interesting is that we hear elements that we hear in Russian post-punk, Turkish dark wave, American dark wave, what we call goth wave, which is that nice little crunchy intersection between post-punk and dark wave. So yeah, I'd say this is a goth wave band.
Yeah, I want to say it's a goth wave band, but it's a little bit lower energy than your typical goth wave band. A lot of the modern bands have more of that upbeat dancing drive. So while this emulates a lot of that, you've got like that atmospheric soundscape going on in the guitar work, and then the chorus comes in and it's a little bit bleaker and lower energy than most goth wave or even post-punk sounding bands are.
For modern bands, yes. For classic bands, I think it's more in line with sort of the overall energy that when you could get away with making an album that just wasn't a bunch of chart-topping dance floor bangers. I mean, you can do that now, but
yeah, like they mentioned the Chameleons. I actually thought of The Church as well, for having some of those like slower crooner tracks.
Right. Shoot, who did they remind me of? A little bit of Echo and the Bunnymen.
Yes, okay, Echo and the Bunnymen is there. So it's just this wavelength that's like just below a certain level of energy. It's not like the Voina album that we reviewed last week that puts you in a mellow tone. This like hovers right in the middle. I don't know how else to describe that. But there is...
Oh, sorry, I was going to say, which is really interesting that they cultivate that tone, considering that I really love just the throbbing bass lines on a lot of these tracks, particularly Drifting into the Void.
You do love your bass lines.
Oh god, I do. And if you look at the description as well, lyrically, the album takes inspiration from The Wasteland by T.S. Eliot. I feel like I've been seeing more bands lately referencing T.S. Eliot as their influence. Who was a recent one that did that? I can't recall, but this is the first time I've seen that.
But this, once I read that they were from Norway, like the music did remind me of just coming from that area, just like cold, crisp, atmospheric soundscapes. So, the first song, I know you mentioned Drifting into the Void. Did you want to say anything more about that?
Oh, I just love the bass line on it. I love the bass lines on the whole album, but Drifting into the Void was the one where that like kind of caught me on that, and that's what kind of tuned me into it on the rest of the album.
I was going to say that the track Merry-Go-Round Spinning MerryGoRound Spinning, very long title. That one stood out to me as it was like a lower energy goth tune, goth wave tune, and to me it reminded me of that new band we reviewed called Luz Futuro. And we love Luz Futuro. They were the first band that Luis Navarro from Twin Tribes signed, and we saw a lot of similarities between Luz Futuro and Twin Tribes. And for some reason, this reminded me of Luz Futuro, like a slower Luz Futuro, but it didn't remind me of Twin Tribes.
It reminded me of Twin Tribes in some places. Like I really do feel like this is a synthesis of the sound where we're at right now. Like this band, this album. I mean, it kind of feels like I know they just referenced T.S. Eliot, but it kind of feels like a love letter to post-punk goth revival right now.
I really did enjoy Upside Down in the Air as well. That one was definitely Drab Majesty-esque.
Yeah.
An uplifting guitar melody, I guess you can say, with a lot of really great intricate guitar work that mostly comes out at the end of the song. I enjoyed that.
My favorite track was In the Hyacinth Garden. I just listening to it, I really liked the lyrics. You know, the hyacinth girl, not living, not dead. The hyacinth girl, the sign of the end.
Oh, I forgot to check out the lyrics, which I totally should have done.
But
lyrics aside, that song didn't do as much for me because I don't remember anything standing out in it. I really like synths. I like highs, and that one was just in like that low wave, low frequency. So it didn't really register as much for me.
I thought that it was doing some interesting things rhythm-wise and melody-wise compared to the rest of the album, and that's why I think it grabbed my attention so much, because I don't know, there's something about this track that just it feels like it got a little something extra. Do you know what I mean?
I thought the extra track, the track that had something extra for me, probably my favorite, was Forgotten Places, Forgotten People. I do believe this one was released as a single back in November of 2020, so maybe it was one of the first songs written. I felt like it had the most work in it.
Drifting Into the Void was another one of their singles.
Yes, I see that. Drifting Into the Void came out earlier in December. So that was, those two singles were released back to back. I thought Forgotten Places, Forgotten People had more of a dynamic tone. There was a really emotional melody to it that I enjoyed. And I felt that the chorus had more energy than the other tracks on the album. So I liked that one just a little bit more. And as well, I also really liked the guitar work on this one. And you know, with the next track right after that, Listen to the Trees. They kind of, to me, it was like an extended version of Forgotten Place, Forgotten People. Like, it felt like it was the same song. I listening through the album a couple of times, I actually didn't notice that the song had changed. But it has like that goth wave drum that I love. And I still love the echoing vocals and that like bleak chorus. That's what those two tracks, they stood out to me for that.
Yeah, no, I think bleak is a good word for this album, though.
Bleak.
I know it's one of those like review buzzwords, but
is it?
It kind of is, along with desolate. That's another one.
Oh, we should write these down and use these buzzwords.
Throbbing is definitely a buzzword.
Oh, I love saying throbbing.
I mean, it's just a fun word, but shit.
That's it. What's your favorite track?
We're gonna have to make a list of buzzwords. My favorite track, like I said, was In the Hyacinth Garden.
Really? I thought you were gonna go with Drifting Into the Void. Oh, you did say Hyacinth Garden. I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah.
Okay, so my favorite track was the Forgotten Places, Forgotten People.
Yeah. So
nice, modern, cold post-punk.
Cold post-punk.
Cold post-punk. Actually, I didn't come up with that. It was their description.
Oh.
But still, if you're into, if you just want some bleak, mellow,
doomer,
mid energy, yeah, I do think of A Very Cold Place. That's probably why it came out feeling like cold post-punk.
Yeah.
In the vein of Twin Tribes, Luz Futuro, Drab Majesty, but less energetic. This is for you.
It's more truly despairing. So
Truly.
go check it out. This is Mirror of Haze. The End is the Beginning on Wave Records.
I love that
I
album
can't
cover.
link-
I just
it's such a pretty album
it's what drew me in. Yeah.
Yeah. And we will put the link in the description below. Go take a listen to it and let us know what you think. We had one comment from Igor Vlasov, who said that the album reviewed last week, the Kill Shelter Antipole album, that it had a Clan of Zymox Vixen in Disguise vibe in The Edge of Reason and maybe something else that they cannot confirm.
Awesome. Thank you, Igor. That is Gothic Gopnik, who is a fan of all of our stuff.
Really? Aw, hi Gothic Gopnik.
Thank you for your comment. I love to hear comments about our reviews. Like, we just drop our reviews and I'm like, what do people think about
what do
it?
people think? Did they hate it? They must have hated it.
Yeah. Yeah. But talk to us. Let us know.
Yeah. And next week, join us on Monday at 8 p.m. EDT. That's UTC -4. We're doing our listening party. Every Monday, we do a listening party for the album review that comes out on Wednesdays on Twitch, which is twitch.tv/Obscura Undead. And it's a lot of fun. We listen, we joke, we laugh, we cry. I'm sure someone makes popcorn. It's fine.
We disagree with each other sometimes.
Constantly. But that's okay. That's what makes it fun. But anyway, thank you for watching. We'll see you next week. And a big thank you to our Patreon supporters and our Twitch subscribers who help keep our content running. And fuck, I gotta finish my taxes. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, me too. All right,
Love
bye.
You, bye.
This is